I feel like I need that age gap because guys are definitely very immature.
Linger a little bit. You take a little sip of your drink, giggle, look away.
And he's like, yeah, reservation for 2. And the woman looks up his name. She's like, sir, that reservation's for tomorrow.
This you, Gordon?
Pierre Jackson. All right, for news, 70-64, 6-point lead, and a steal by Pierre Jackson. Is he put on a show in this tournament or not?
Today's feature is one of my personal favorite guards under 6 foot in recent times. Watching him for 5 minutes, you can't help but fall in love with his game, his heart, his attitude, and especially his story. But that story is a very complicated one, and some of the reasons he isn't in the NBA today were totally out of his control and placed him in a position to really put his money where his mouth is and grind until, in his own words, he can't walk anymore. Basketball is one of those sports where, yes, size does matter, and I'd love to say that size didn't play a role in Jackson's growth stunts, but also happy to say that that role was a very small one, because although I feel if Pierre was 6'3", he'd be one of the best guards in the league right now, I still believe at his size he can have an impact if given the right situation. He's currently doing his thing in the G League as of this year, waiting for the right phone call, and hopefully soon he can make that happen. Here are a few things that were simply out of his control and stunted his growth. Pierre Deshaun Jackson, born August 29th, 1991. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. Ash, get it, man. Jackson is from the bright lights of Las Vegas, Nevada, a place you never think of in conversation about basketball. It's also a place you wouldn't expect to be filled with the detractions it is. Projects, gang violence, poverty on different levels, and a complete opposite view of the bright lights, casinos, and flow of money it's known for. It was in this environment a gem of a basketball player was crafted. A player without ideal stature for the sport, but a heart that took him from virtually off the radar in high school and having to go the junior college route to playing alongside guards like J.J. Barrera and one of the best guards of his time, Deron Williams. Well, JC, if you speak so highly of him, why is he featured on Stunted Growth? Well, I'll just say this. D. Wade's a feature on the channel, as well as Carmelo Anthony and Allen Iverson. And also because all wasn't perfect for young Jackson. Here's a few stunts in his said growth that, had they not happened, could have changed the course of his career and make him the household name his talents deem him to be. Stunt number 1, Achilles heel. Literally. In my opinion, up until the point in his career where he ruptured his Achilles, Jackson was really a growth spurt story of overcoming almost every obstacle en route to doing something really legendary. He was a 3-star recruit in high school from a place where basketball respect hasn't yet been seen, beginning at the junior college level where an elbow injury left a plate in his arm and contemplating redshirting, only to lead the conference in assists as a true freshman and winning a national championship as a sophomore. Excelling at a Division I school with some of the most highly touted prospects in the country, then being drafted by the NBA. After spending some time in the D-League and overseas, Jackson finally got what he called a perfect opportunity with the 76ers in 2014, only to rupture his Achilles in their first Summer League game, leading to that being the last the NBA would ever see of Pierre Jackson for a while. I credit this stunt as his biggest because had it not happened, the following stunts would be obsolete in his growth. The year Pierre was slated to join the Sixers, the team was in complete rebuild mode and looking for a point guard that could score and distribute while also leading a team. Pierre would have had a serious shot at being the backup or at least third on the point guard depth chart. The injury would happen before that could take place, and Pierre was forced to sit out a very crucial season in his growth and career. Despite the injury, the Sixers, in show of good faith, still decided to sign him as a way he could be able to get the best rehab possible under the 76ers name. Isaiah Cannon, Tony Roden, who's my guy by the way, love his game, Larry Drew, Tim Frazier, Ish Smith, Besides Roten as Michael Carter Williams' backup, I'm taking my chances with a young, pre-injury Pierre Jackson. Stunt number 2, timing. After being awarded a scholarship to Baylor, Jackson was told by people like Fran Fraschilla that he wasn't going to make it through college, much less to the NBA. It fueled Jackson to averaging 13.8 points a game, 6 assists, shoot 40% from 3, and guiding his team to the Elite Eight his junior season, capturing an all Big 12 slot. As a senior, he was even better, averaging 19.8 points a game and 7 assists. Fraschilla later apologized to him face-to-face. He was taken with the 42nd pick in the 2013 NBA draft by the 76ers, who later traded him to the Pelicans. 2013 was a year Isaiah Thomas hadn't yet shown us how great a guy in Jackson's mold could be in the league, and Nate Robinson was on the tail end of his 3-time slam dunk winning career. The league in that time was moving toward a more bigger, uber athletic guard they could build their franchise around that was big enough on defense, quick enough on offense, and shot it well enough to gain a defense's respect. Yeah, you had guys like Tony Parker and Chris Paul who were smaller point guards, but both had already established careers where they proved they could perform at that size on a high level, and even they were still bigger than Pierre. I think had he come up in an era like today, or maybe even the mid-90s, he'd be a problem. It was also a time when he came into a team that was a long shot at making, with guys like a 4th-year Tyreke Evans, 4th-year Jrue Holiday, Eric Gordon, and a young, highly touted 2nd-year project in Austin Rivers, who was supposed to be what Kyrie is today, leaving high school and at Duke on the roster. Pierre would have had a distant shot at making and staying the year on that team, and it's unfortunate he landed there at that time. Great organization, bad timing for a guy like Pierre to go there. Another part of that timing issue is also I don't think Pierre was ready for that level at that time. Only having 2 college years of high-level basketball and a previous junior college upbringing, he wasn't the player he was right before injuring his Achilles or even that he is today. Had he been, he would have made that team and earned a rotation spot. The timing just wasn't in his favor. Stunt number 3, time goes by. Finding a flaw in Pierre's game other than his size, which some people deem as a liability on defense and in some spots on offense, I can't see any other necessary point guard skills he doesn't possess to have a spot in the league. I had a comment the other day that talked about a pass feature in Russ Smith, who is in the exact same boat Pierre falls in as a diminutive guard that scores better than he does anything else. He said how Russ would have to become much more than a scorer in the league, seeing as though he wasn't going to be a high-volume shooter. That's the difference with Pierre's game. He could distribute. He's done it everywhere he's been, and he's shown he could lead a team as the point guard. But in basketball, while you're trying to prove that, time just goes by. As you get older, you start falling into certain boxes as a player, and fighting your way out of those boxes has its own very unique politics. Pierre fell in the box as a rookie of a 2nd-round pick to overseas, damaged goods, older than the age a team would like to invest in, small, and what else does he do for me? He had to fight getting out of those boxes, all while the game is drafting 60 players every year that are more popular, bigger, and sometimes naturally better than you. The opportunities slowly started to slip away. He's been in between the G League and overseas from 2013 to 2016, then had a stint playing 8 games with the Dallas Mavericks to back overseas and the G League once again. At this point, it'll be a challenge for Pierre to find himself on an NBA roster with how fast the game is moving and him not getting any younger. But who knows, 2020 has shown that crazier things can happen. All in all, I got tons of respect for this guy as a man and as a hooper because he literally came from the furthest point away in basketball, and I hate to keep mentioning this, but at his size, still made it to the league and made a great career for himself overseas and at home. Hopefully, he gets the break he's been looking for, and if not, it was still a great ride for a guy that had to overcome what Pierre Jackson did. Salute to him, and like I said, I really like his game, and I'm rooting for him to get on an NBA roster one day. I'm sure he'll do more than a good enough job if that day comes. It's your boy JC Stunner Growth, and I'm out. This video is brought to you by Unseasoned. Go subscribe to Unseasoned and check out their exclusive and insightful interviews with females on dating, relationships, and preferences. They get straight to the point and ask the questions that's on every guy's mind. I'll also leave a link in the description.